As I exited hyperspace, the temporal research station came into view. The humans had managed to rig a special mechanism to the space station to allow their ships to dock with the alien architecture. The design was brilliant. Too bad they were bumbling idiots with everything else they did. The human researchers opened a channel. "Hello, sorry, we weren't expecting visitors. This is Dr. Lopez. We're just wrapping up with our experiments." Oh, good, I replied. "You're just wrapping up. That's great. Glad to hear it." Is there a problem?" the human asked. "Actually, yes there is. My name is Aircrith. I'm with the Galactic Industry and Transportation Committee, and you need to tell me what you're doing here." "Okay, listen," the scientist said. "On all the latest charts, this station was listed as abandoned. The charter clearly states that—" I interrupted the human. "Your claim over the temporal research station is not the issue here." "Oh, okay," they responded. "In that case, what is the problem?" I gave a long, exasperated sigh. The humans really were clueless, weren't they? "Did it occur to you at any point that there was a reason the station was abandoned?" "Yes," Dr. Lopez answered. And, they continued, "we figured there was only one way to find out what the reason was." "And what have you found out?" I inquired. "Well, we found a device that could open a stable wormhole. It also included a mechanism that let us time dilate one of the wormhole's openings. Basically, the equipment here lets us travel forwards and backwards through time." "Right. And by now you've no doubt discovered that you cannot change the past," I prodded. "Yes, it's incredible," the scientist answered. "A lot of us were worried that something really bad would happen if we tried, but it looks like everything's fine." "Uh-huh. Now let me ask you this. How did you humans get all the way out here?" "Well," Dr. Lopez said, "if I remember correctly, your committee shared FTL technology with humanity." "Right again. Just one more question. Have you tried leaving yet?" Silence. "Okay," I continued. "So I'm guessing you understand that your experiment can be viewed as essentially one large quantum system. Is that correct?" "Yes," the human offered. "And so you understand that its wave function can only emit self-consistent components. All of the inconsistent parts are collapsed, right?" "Yes, that was our conclusion," they said, sounding a little more sure of themselves. "Then I'm guessing you don't know about the Galactic air coupling, as our physicists call it. Now, if you want a more detailed explanation, you would have to talk to an expert. But suffice it to say, setups like the one you stumbled across here create a kind of interference that disrupts our FTL technology." "Wait, so you're saying that our tests have been stopping ships from traveling through hyperspace?" Dr. Lopez asked. "They sure are," I said. "If that's the case, then how did you get here?" "I came here from outside the affected area," I answered. "The effect doesn't stop ships from exiting hyperspace, only entering it. An FTL drive is able to compensate for the interference caused by normal wave function collapse, but a time loop is on a whole other scale. The size of the disruption is related to the measure of the eliminated wave function, so if I understand correctly, you can think of it like this. The more tightly events are constrained, the larger the effective volume will be. Now, because of your little experiment, we've lost contact with 31 systems, which is one of the largest disruptions ever recorded. So, I have to ask again, what specifically have you been doing here?" "All right," the human answered. "I should probably start at the beginning. First and foremost, we did take safety precautions. No one was directly exposed to any part of the experiment. We made sure that personnel were pretty much causally isolated from the closed time-like curve. Instead, we had all these metal ball bearings. In our first test... Wait, okay, are you familiar with the grandfather paradox?" "Yes, though I still don't know why so many of your ideas about time travel involve killing people." "Right, so anyway," they continued. "In our first test, we set the ball bearing to roll through the wormhole with a trajectory that would have it collide with a past version of itself, knocking it out of the way before it could travel back in the first place. When we did the experiment, the future version of the ball exited the wormhole with a different velocity. Instead of hitting itself directly, it only grazed its past self, thereby imparting the slight change in momentum that caused it to miss in the first place." "You got it to demonstrate retrocausal behavior," I said. "Correct," Dr. Lopez answered. "But we kept going. In our next test, we rigged a motion sensor that would detect the ball bearing emerging from the future, and trigger a mechanism that would stop the past version of the ball from entering the wormhole. In this experiment, the ball bearing never entered the wormhole because the motion sensor was triggered erroneously. What caused that? I inquired. We're not sure, but we think it was a cosmic ray. Anyway, we went back to the setup with the ball bearing hitting itself, except this time we put it on a metal track so that it couldn't miss, and this is where it started getting remarkable. The ball bearing spontaneously magnetized. It got stuck to the rail before it could collide with its past self. After that, we replaced the metal ball bearing with a glass marble. When we did that, the marble somehow changed velocities and bounced out of the track we built. Now I was intrigued. Wait, doesn't that break conservation of momentum? I asked. So we actually repeated this test several times, they replied. It appears that the expectation value of the marble's momentum is remaining constant, so technically no conservation laws are being broken. This is just quantum uncertainty on a larger scale. We gave up not long after this. Gave up on what? I'm sorry, was there a problem with my translator earlier? I thought you understood that you cannot change the past. Oh no, at this point we weren't trying to change the past, Dr. Lopez said. This setup is able to make things happen that are ordinarily extremely unlikely. We just wanted to see how far we could go. How far you could go? Yeah, they said. I was kind of hoping we could get the marble to undergo quantum tunneling, but in our last test the track we built fell apart completely after one of the components spontaneously melted. After that, it was clear that this could potentially be dangerous, and so we stopped. I gave another sigh. I wish you had quit sooner. You've all caused a massive headache for a lot of people. Should we expect more of this? Do all human scientists treat the laws of nature like some kind of personal challenge? Yeah, pretty much, the human responded. By the way, how long do these FTL disruptions last? With one like this, it will probably take several days for the interference to dissipate, I said. If you need it. I brought rations.